Hello and welcome to our first video on circles and circle theorems. I'm Mr. Chowdhury and today we're going to be looking at the very basics of labeling a circle. Now I've got this diagram here which you can screen grab and fill in or draw a copy in your notes. What I'd like you to do to begin with is pause the video and try and fill in as many of these as you can, just to see where you are at in terms of being able to label parts of a circle. I will then go through each part of a circle and you can make a correction if you made a mistake, or you can just tick it off and say, yep, I know what that part of a circle is. It's really important that we have definitions for parts of a circle so that when we are working with circle theorems and circles in general, we know what parts of the circle we're talking about so that it's easier for you to understand what to do. So please pause the video, have a go at labeling as many as you can. Okay, so we're just going to go through this now, go through every part of labeling a circle. So you may want to make some notes here. I'm going to give you some definitions for each part of the circle. So we're going to start off with the circumference. Now the circumference is the outer boundary of the circle, or the perimeter of a circle. We call it the circumference. The perimeter of a circle is called the circumference, and it's the bit that goes around the outside of the circle, the outer boundary of the circle. So just like my diagram, the bit in pink is the circumference. Now we're going to move on. The radius. The radius is a line from the center to the circumference of a circle. So here's one radius, here's another radius, here's a third radius. It's just a line that goes from the center of the circle to the circumference. That's what the radius is. Okay, so now we're going to look at the diameter. The diameter is a straight line that goes through the center of the circle and connects 2 points on the circumference. So 2 points on the circumference, we're going to connect them with a straight line that goes through the center. The key thing is that it has to go through the center of the circle. That's the key to what a diameter is. The diameter is double the length of the radius. The diameter is double the length of the radius. So here's some diameters for you. It can be any 2 points. I've just picked a couple. Any 2 points, you can connect them. As long as it goes through the center and you're connecting 2 points on the circumference, that is known as a diameter. Moving on, a chord. A chord is a straight line that connects 2 points on the circumference. So it doesn't necessarily have to go through the center. So here's a chord. I've just connected 2 points on the circumference. Here's another chord. I've connected 2 points on the circumference. Here's our last chord. I've connected 2 points on the circumference. If you connect 2 points on the circumference of a circle with a straight line, that is known as a chord. Okay, we're moving on. A segment. A segment. A segment is the area bound by the circumference and a chord. So the first thing we need to do is draw in a chord, and then we're going to shade in the area that's between the chord and the circumference. So for example, the bit in pink, so this section here, would be a segment. This section here would be a segment. Okay, it's anything that's between a chord and the circumference is a segment. Okay, we're moving on to the next bit, which is an arc. An arc is a fraction of the circumference of a circle. So for example, the circumference would go all the way around. An arc would be that bit there in pink. Another arc would be that bit there in pink. So an arc is a fraction of the circumference of a circle. Okay. Now we have a sector. A sector is a fraction of the area of a circle enclosed by 2 radii and the arc. So I'll show you again. I'll say that again, sorry. A fraction of the area of the circle. So we're looking at a bit of the area of the circle, which is enclosed by the 2 radii and an arc. So it's enclosed by 2 radii and an arc. So I need 2 radii. I have an arc that goes across there. That would be my sector. Once again, I've got a radius there and a radius there. That would be my sector. Okay? Moving on, a tangent. A tangent is a straight line which touches the circle at just 1 point. A straight line that touches the circle at just 1 point. So there's a tangent there. Here's another tangent. Here's one more tangent. Any line that touches the circle at 1 point is known as a tangent. Okay, so now we're just going to check if we've understood what the key definitions are for these words. There's key points for each of these parts of a circle, and you need to understand those key points so that you know exactly what each of them is. So here's your first diagram. The blue line there, is it a diameter, a chord, or both? Please pause the video and have a think. Okay, we'll go through this answer. A diameter, a chord, or both? Well, a diameter has to go through the center. If you look at this blue line, it doesn't go through the center of the circle. It does connect 2 points on the circumference, but it doesn't go through the center. And because it doesn't go through the center, that makes it a chord. Okay? If it goes through the center, it would be called a diameter. A diameter, in essence, is a type of chord. It's a very specific chord, right? A chord is just joining any 2 points on a circle. On the circumference of a circle, if you join any 2 points, that's a chord. A diameter adds an extra constraint to a chord to create a diameter, which means it has to go through the center. The diameter is the longest length in a circle, right? If it goes through the center, it will be the longest length. That's what the diameter is. Okay, what about this one? The thick green line. Perimeter or circumference? Pause the video. What do you think? Okay, so a circumference is just another way of saying the perimeter of a circle. Now, we wouldn't say this was the perimeter of the circle, but in essence, it is the perimeter of the circle. Okay, so now we're going to try our next question. A radius, a chord, or both? A radius, a chord, or both? Pause the video. What do you think? Okay, so let's look at a chord. A chord needs to connect 2 points on the circumference of a circle. Have we connected 2 points? Well, the answer is no. We have connected 2 points, but they're not on the circumference of the circle. What we've done is connected the center to the circumference. And if you connect the center to the circumference, that is a radius. Connecting the center to the circumference is a radius. Okay, we're moving on to the next question. So for this one, the answer is radius. Next question. How many sectors can you see? Well, the answer is 2. We have 2 radii here, and then this bit here would be a sector. We have 2 radii, and the other side would also be a sector. So we have 2 sectors of this circle. There are 2 sectors. And here's your last one. What's the same? What's different? What is the same? What's different? Okay, we'll go through the differences first. So the diagram on the right, there is a diameter that goes straight through the center. We have a diameter. On the left, we do not have a diameter. That's the only difference between these 2 diagrams. Now let's look at the similarities. These are the comments that we can make in terms of the similarities. So the first similarity is both diagrams have 2 sectors. So the one on the left has a sector here and a sector here. The one on the right has a sector on the bottom and a sector on the top. Even though they are semicircles, they are still sectors of this circle. They're still fractions of the overall area. Okay, what else do we have? Well, we have 2 radii in the left-hand diagram. We can say we have 2 radii in the right-hand diagram as well. They just happen to be going in the same direction, right? So there's 2 radii in the right-hand diagram, 2 radii in the left-hand diagram. There are other things you can say. You could say that there's another similarities, that the circles are the same size, they're the same color, things like that. But they're the key ones that you should have taken away. Now, hopefully that's helped and you can label a circle. But before we finish, I'd just like to summarize what we learned in this lesson. So here's a diagram we had at the beginning of the lesson, but now I've filled in the names of all the different parts of the circle. Now you can just pause the video, screen grab this so you have it. You could even print it out and write the definitions in underneath each keyword, but these are the ones you need to know. You need to know what a sector is. You need to know what a segment is. You need to know what a chord is. Tangent, diameter, circumference, radius. When you are asked a question or you're looking at any questions that you need to answer, you know exactly what the question is talking about with regards to which part of the circle you need to work with. Hopefully that's been helpful. What I suggest you do now is go and watch Mr. Amoson's videos to do some practice. If you're feeling super confident, you can go on Dr. Frost and Corbett Maths to do some questions on there. Go forward, be productive, and I'll see you in the next video.